relationship advice, okay? She had to smack some sense into me because we made this video yesterday, right?
And it was so good.
So good. And I had my headset plugged into the microphone piece, so we didn't really get the audio.
Yeah, the audio sounded like it was from another room.
Right, and we've been really defeated
about this. It completely just...
Because it was 13 minutes of raw, real. We didn't cut the video, we didn't stop the video. So now we've just been trying to replicate it. But that's our first mistake. So guys, relationship advice, okay? Alright, one thing about our relationship is we're very honest and open. A lot of times we tell each other our feelings. Like if I don't like something that's going on, I just straight up tell her I'm just not happy with what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I think that it may come off to some people as like, damn, you really just said that?
But yeah. I used to think he was trying to hurt my feelings, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's just telling me how he really feels, and that's very important.
Because if you don't do that, you're going to hold it in, it's going to build up, and there's going to be a
blow-up.
It
becomes a huge argument that didn't need to happen.
We've been in a few fights before. It's not like we don't get in fights, but we haven't been in a fight in a long time, okay?
We have not, actually.
Yeah. And it's been really tough because the baby's 5 months old, so you know it's tough to have a relationship with a 5-month-old, a 3-year-old, and then, she's not able to get to sleep. I'm not able to get to sleep, her more so than me. I've been able to go to the gym as of the last month or so. She still can't go because of the baby and everything. Because the baby, she left the baby with me for 2 hours a day. And it was easy for about an hour and 45 minutes, 15 minutes of it. I wanted to jump off the Empire State Building and do a tumbling backflip into the ground. But I got over it, got through it, so it ended up really good. But, relationships are really built on trust. Trust and being honest and open with each other. One of the things, she's beautiful, people say I'm beautiful, but, it's up for debate, depending on, I'm a few hairs short of gorge, you know what I mean? But character, goals, wanting to be something more than something outside yourself, wanting to work hard, those are very attractive qualities. It's not just looks. A lot of times looks drag you together. But it's the character, morals, values, what you want out of life, how you want to build a family, stuff like that, the way you want to raise children. That's really what holds a relationship together. And I don't want to keep talking because sometimes I feel a little narcissistic because I'm, a little bit,
I feel like everyone has potential to be.
Yeah, Tony Stark was a little narcy and he was a hero, right?
He's fictional.
A lot of things are.
Anyway. One thing for me that's really helped me in my relationship now is knowing that, or in understanding that you have to adapt and become better. You can't just be stuck in the same, if you're toxic, you need to recognize it. If you are nagging or if you are constantly thinking, I would think oh, he did that and that really pissed me off, and then I wouldn't tell him. And then he'd be like, why is she mad at me? And then eventually when I say it, and then he'd be like, okay, I'll fix it, I'll change. And it's oh, it's that easy. So recognizing that, just that you need to change in those ways to make a relationship better, to be better. If you're not trying to be better every day in yourself to make your relationship better, it's gonna be very hard. And not that it might still work, but it's still gonna be very hard. And no one wants a hard relationship. Relationships and marriage aren't supposed to be constant turmoil, and it's your spouse is supposed to be your peace. Your relationship in your home is supposed to be your peace. So if you are constantly home and causing these arguments every time you get in the house or every time you're with your spouse, that rhymed. It's going to create a bunch of distance and tension, and you have to recognize the traits that you have that are not good, and stop thinking that you're right and that the way you're acting is, it's my way or the highway, and change. And I don't like to say change because you can still be yourself, but more of evolve into a person who is more open-minded and accepting and willing to let some things go and to focus more on important things. And then another thing definitely is values and the characteristics in the other person that you find. So if something for example, honesty and friendship is important to you, you need to make sure that that's also important to the other person. Because if honesty is not important to them, or a friendship, or whatever it is that you think like that's important to you, you're not gonna feel as wanted and satisfied in their relationship because they're not sharing the same importance and values in that relationship. So I think that's one thing that's really stood out to me about him in general.
And like I said, I've been in a lot more relationships than her, dated a lot more
Yeah.
than she has. Just, go see a couple more times than she has, and she's a couple less times than me. But the number one thing that I think it was important for us is that we developed a friendship very quickly. You know what I'm saying? She was going through some tough times too. I was kind of on the up in my life, I guess. I had just gotten through some tough times.
Like he was going this way and I was going this way.
Yeah.
But then we met each other in my life. So like.
Right. And I think I was very supportive of her, very helpful of her. I did things that a lot of people didn't do for her in her relationships and stuff like that. And, I make her laugh a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's very important.
And I don't use jokes to like send subliminal messages. I just joke. And then I tell her the truth.
I needed to realize that too.
Yeah.
Is because I just could never take a joke. And then when I lightened up and started to take the joke, because this is when I had to evolve, okay, I realized, okay, wait, that's actually funny. He doesn't actually mean that. But the only reason why I was able to do that is because he is honest about the things that are actually bothering him.
Yeah.
So, knowing the difference.
And I really don't joke about her insecurities.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
That's because, no.
There's plenty to joke about. You can make it up. And that stuff, I joke about stuff that's just not true. Just so it's an easy joke, you know what I mean? Like outrageously funny. But, I think too is like I'm very busy, always working hard type thing. So I think she appreciates that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be in a situation where you're just so toxically obsessed with somebody. If you're like that, usually it means you're broken and you need to realize that. And you need to work on yourself, okay? If no real partner is going to be super, super just into each other like that. You guys have to have some purpose and meaning and value
For
in your
yourself.
life. For yourself.
And your happiness should not rely on the other person.
Yeah, because if you put your happiness in someone else's hands, you'll pretty much never get it back. And a lot of times people, whether they realize it or not, they won't respect you when they notice like, hey, he quit going to the gym to spend time with me. I mean, you don't want to do that. When I met her, I kept going to the gym. I kept playing basketball. Did it upset her a little bit?
At first. And then I realized that those are the things that he does to make himself better. And I need to stop being so dependent on him to make me happy, because it's not anyone else's job. And honestly, that's kind of a selfish trait to have, I realized, to put your happiness in someone else's hands, because not only does that person not have to worry about themselves, but they're constantly worried about you and making you happy, when you need to find that within yourself and then let that person add on, not take away or be the full source of. That is very, very important. And once you realize that in a relationship,
She's fine.
Once you realize that in a relationship, it gets a lot easier and peaceful, because your partner can stop focusing on everything that's wrong with you and making you happy, and you guys can focus on each other and then in your relationship.
Right, and you want to make yourself a high value person. So you want to have a very strong inner working, about who you are. Very strong, disciplined. You want to be self-reliant. You know what I mean? You don't want the other person to feel like they absolutely need you. And I know that seems, that's not really
Or the standard.
Yeah, how it stereotypically is. But that's very important, because a lot of relationships don't last. A lot of marriages don't last, especially in the United States. There's a high rate of failing. But the number one thing I think that makes a successful relationship is honesty, discipline, high morals, high values, doing the right thing even when it'd be a lot easier to lie or cover it up or anything like that. So I think being a virtuous person is very important to keeping a relationship together. And you have to always outweigh, you don't want to rely on short-term satisfaction. You need to do the hard work in a relationship, the communication, and don't avoid the problems. Do things like that to build a strong connection with your partner. And I think eventually over time you become really good friends, and that's very important. Is you have to
Friendship
be
is super important in a
yeah,
relationship.
you have to be really, really good friends. You know what I mean? Because like some days you just don't feel good or not all lovey-dovey, want to be touched. She has kids all over her. She doesn't really want to be touched sometimes. So just being a partner, a friend, is something that really extends the relationship. And you're not going to find that right away. So luckily we have this, chemical reaction and love and stuff like that. So it's easy to be drawn to a person, but you can't let those feelings cover up red flags. Is what we were talking about earlier. Red flags, and having kids too will bring a good bond. I don't recommend you just have kids. I'm old. I'm 33. She's young, but she already had a child we met, which I've had a great honor, and I feel privileged to be helping her with her child. And now we have a kid together, so it's just a great family that we have. And that's one thing too, is you got to be prepared to deal with things that come with that person. You know what I mean? I knew that when I met her that I would have to love the child, I would have to take care of the child, I would have to consider it a part of her life and bring it into my life and make it our life. So you have to be very responsible with your feelings, very responsible with the way you're thinking. You know what I mean? To be in a functioning relationship, it's just so much more than the Disney Channel narrative. And I think that a lot of people don't really realize what it means to have a bond with a person. In the society that we live in, it's so instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's so cliche, and what we see on TV.
I don't know. I think that a lot of times, even as girls, we expect this big fairy tale, and yeah, like it's nice, the flowers and the jewelry and all of that. That's nice, but at the end of the day, like who's gonna be there to check on your mental health? Who's gonna be there with you to wake up when your baby's screaming and we both just stare at each other? Like you gotta think about that, because if you're with someone right now and you can't see yourself doing all that with them, then there's really no point. You don't want to waste. To me, you don't want to waste time, because life is precious. You only have a certain amount of time in the day, and why waste it knowing that it's gonna end eventually, or it's not what you're gonna want eventually. And that's what I was saying in the other video. This is what I do remember, is that you shouldn't have any doubts in your mind that this isn't what you want. Like I've never ever in my relationship with Andrew have thought like, actually I don't like this, actually I don't see this working out. I've never thought I don't see him as a good dad or a good partner or any of that. You shouldn't have those feelings. The right person you won't have that feelings with. So if you do have those doubts and they're addressed and that you don't think it's going to change, it's not going to work out, then don't stick out to see if it will, because 9 times out of 10 it's not going to, and you just caused yourself a whole lot of heartbreak and a whole lot of turmoil in your life. And when you realize that you really only have you're not promised tomorrow, you start to realize like, okay, what goals do I want in this person? And if they're not there, bye. That's back to the red flag thing, I guess.
Yeah, and another thing too, you always want to do unexpected things for them, kind gestures. I get her flowers. I actually haven't in a little while. I don't remember, maybe the last time she was sick or something, I got her flowers. But
last time you and Adeline went to Publix, you did.
Yeah. So do kind things for them when they don't ask you to.
Like for example, I made him his favorite chicken wraps today,
and it's so crazy because I was sitting here thinking about it.
And I knew it. I knew he was thinking about it.
And low-key, if she wouldn't have done it, I might have made a little comment like, oh.
Or he would have just asked me.
But like, where's my dinner? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so actually we're getting ready to go to a concert and spend the night out. Her sister's here watching the baby. So
that's another thing, investing in each other and spending time with just each other. It's hard when you have children, I know.
Sometimes you gotta tie them up, put them in the closet. I'm just kidding.
But I think that also another thing, last thing that's important, is knowing what your partner likes and just investing in that for them. Like he likes to eat. He loves food. So if I want to make him happy, I'll randomly make him food, or I'm gonna go. I've never done it, but I have planned on going to pick up sushi for him. Like stuff like
That would
that.
have been good today because I was thinking about that.
That really would have been.
I was thinking
good,
about
but it would have been
things.
so out of my way.
2 things I was thinking about today. She did one of them, so we're good.
And he knows that stuff. For me, like the other day, I went to Publix and got chocolate chip muffins and a bottle of wine, and then I came back home and the kids had already been put in the bath. And that to me is like, oh my god. So it's like stuff like that. You gotta just know what your partner loves, and basically it gets to the love language thing, which is a whole nother video we can get into, and do that. Just invest in that one simple thing, because little things like that matter.
Okay, but we do have to go. So thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope this is what you guys were looking for. We will post more videos. Always comment beneath, let us know what you think.
Let us know what you want to see.
Right.
If you want anything else.
If you absolutely hated the video, I guess let us know. I guess,
If you think we're wrong,
yeah.
you can tell us too.
Yeah.
We like to like rebuttals.
So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Have a good day.